Tired of browsers turning into buyers? Well, only sometimes. Welcome to Shop Strategy.
Hmm.
We dive deep into what really makes e-commerce tick, and today we're zeroing in on something huge for your Shopify store, using visuals to seriously boost your sales.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We've talked about boosting conversions before, and it always seems to come back to product photography. It's just fundamental online.
Exactly. So we've got this great article from the shopstrategy.com, Product Photography That Sells, Visual Optimization for Shopify.
Uh-huh.
And we're also looking at the Shopify app Growth Suite, thinking about how its features can, really work with those great visuals.
Right. Our mission today is pretty clear, I think. We want to pull out the really actionable stuff. How can you use product photography to lift those Shopify conversion rates? And also show how a tool like Growth Suite fits into that picture, how it complements that visual strategy. Oh, and this deep dive is powered by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you run smart discount campaigns on your store. You can test it for free on your Shopify store.
And the stats. Wow. They really jump out. Our sources say Shopify stores with professional photos see conversion rates go up by like 30%. But this is the one that gets me. 93% of people say visual appearance is the deciding factor when they buy something.
Wow.
93%.
It's huge, isn't it? Really drives home why you've got to pay attention to this. So
Yes.
let's dig into that connection. Why what people see translates into what they buy. Why are good photos just so critical online?
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. Why are good product photos, non-negotiable online?
Well, the article puts it really well. They're the digital equivalent of placing your products directly into your customers' hands. I mean, think about it. Online, you can't pick it up, feel the weight, check the texture. Your images have to do all that heavy lifting.
Right, so it's not just looking pretty. They're actually doing a job,
Yeah.
persuading people.
Exactly. They cut down on uncertainty. A really clear, well-lit photo answers questions the customer might not even consciously have. And that builds confidence, that feeling of, okay, I know what I'm getting, which leads to clicking add to cart.
And it goes beyond just making that first sale, right?
Yeah.
There's more to it.
Oh, definitely. Good, accurate photos can cut down your return rates by up to 25%. Because if what arrives matches what they saw online, they're much happier. Less disappointment, fewer returns. That hits your bottom line directly. And customer satisfaction, of course.
Yeah, you can totally picture it. That store with the slightly fuzzy, dark phone pics versus the one with sharp, professional shots. The article even contrasts them, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It paints this picture of two hypothetical stores, same products, roughly. But the one with the quick, poorly lit shots, their conversion rate could easily be 2, maybe 3 times lower than the store that really invested in showing their products properly. Consistent light, multiple angles, it makes a difference.
Okay, so focusing on Shopify specifically, are there particular things store owners need to think about with visuals just for that platform?
Yes, definitely some Shopify-specific things, like your store's theme, that directly affects how your images show up. The size they display at, how they might get cropped on different pages if the zoom works well. These are technical bits within Shopify that matter.
And then mobile, the big one.
The biggest one, probably. The article says over 70% of traffic to Shopify stores is from phones. So your images have to work on that small screen. Not just technically small files, but like composed well so you can still see what matters. Still informative on mobile.
But these challenges, they aren't just hurdles, are they? Could be an opportunity.
That's exactly it. In a crowded space like Shopify, great photography makes you stand out instantly. If your competitors are using basic manufacturer photos or just, okay-ish shots and you've got something polished, your store looks higher quality, more trustworthy. And that perception rubs off on the products themselves.
Okay, I'm convinced. Good photos are a must. But what if you're just starting out? Small budget. The article gets into the basics, the foundations, and seems to really lean into a DIY approach, which is encouraging.
Yeah, that's a really important point they make. You don't need a fancy studio or thousands of dollars in gear to get started. Modern smartphones, they mention the iPhone 15 Pro, Pixel 8, Galaxy S24 are actually incredibly capable, especially if you control the environment.
So beyond the phone itself, what's the essential, affordable kit that really moves the needle for DIY photos?
2 things stand out in the article. A solid tripod and decent lighting. They say that's way more important than just upgrading the camera itself. A tripod gets rid of camera shake, means sharper photos, consistent framing. Even a cheap one for a phone helps a lot for product shots.
And lighting. That always feels complicated. But the article suggests a basic setup that's not too expensive.
Exactly. For maybe like $100 to $200, you can get a couple of softbox lights. They give you that nice, consistent, diffuse light, cuts down harsh shadows. Then foam core boards, white and black, super cheap, maybe $20, great for bouncing light or blocking reflections. And a seamless white backdrop. Could be $15, could be $50, depending on size. But the main thing, like the article says, is great lighting with an average camera produces better results than poor lighting with an expensive camera. Simple as that.
That's really good to hear for people starting out. So you got the basic gear. How do you actually create the right environment, especially if space is tight?
Well, the article talks about natural light first. It can be great, obviously, but it changes all the time, right? Weather, time of day. If you use it, they suggest a north-facing window in the northern hemisphere anyway for softer light. But you'll probably still need those white foam boards to fill in shadows.
But for consistency, especially if you're shooting lots of products over time, artificial light seems like the way to go.
For consistency, yeah, definitely. The classic setup is two softboxes at about 45-degree angles to the product. Gives you even light, shows the shape and texture, and helps kill reflections on shiny stuff.
And the background is key for making the product the hero. Right.
Totally. For most core product shots, clean white is the standard. Makes the product pop, looks professional across your whole store. Getting that smooth curve from the surface up the back, the infinity curve they call it, is pretty easy with some white paper or board and tape. Avoids distracting lines.
The article also tackles common problems like reflections, weird color tints, shadows, wrinkly backdrops, and gives solutions.
Yeah, practical stuff. Shiny product reflecting everything. Use black foam core just outer shot to absorb light. Color cast from a nearby red wall. Move the colored stuff away. Shadows inconsistent. Make sure your lights are always in the exact same spot. Wrinkled backdrop. Bit of ironing. Tape it down tight or fix it in editing later. All solvable.
So it sounds like even before you touch the camera, there's a lot of planning involved to be efficient.
Oh, absolutely. Pre-production planning is huge. A detailed shot list is essential. What exactly do you need? Hero shots, different angles, close-ups on details, zippers, textures, scale shots, variants like colors, lifestyle shots. List it all out first.
And the product itself needs prepping too, right?
Yeah.
Can't just grab it off the shelf.
No way. Clean it meticulously, dust, fingerprints, gone. Steam fabrics, polish shiny bits, remove tags, stickers. Make sure anything functional is shown working correctly. It's like getting the product ready for its close-up. Makes a big difference.
And if the product doesn't want to stand up nicely on its own, the article had some tricks.
Yeah, clever little things. Fishing line, double-sided tape, museum gel. Stuff to subtly prop it up or position it just right. Key is, whatever you use, it needs to be invisible in the photo or super easy to edit out later.
Okay, setup, planning, prep. Done. Now, the types of photos that work best for Shopify? The article highlights 3 main styles.
That's right. Number 1, white background photography. The foundation, really. Clean, focused purely on the product.
And getting that perfect white background needs some technical thought, doesn't it? Not just point and shoot.
No, you need to light the background separately from the product, usually. Make the background pure white without blowing out the details on the actual item. Camera settings, they suggest around f8 to f11 aperture for good depth of field, keeping more of the product sharp. ISO low 100 or 200 for clean images. And set your white balance manually with a gray card for accurate colors. Composition. Centered usually works well, with a bit of breathing room, like 10% padding around it.
And quick editing tips for those white background shots to get them looking really crisp.
Yeah, they mention using tools like Select Subject in Photoshop. Select the product, maybe refine the edge a bit, then put it on a pure white layer, and add a tiny, subtle drop shadow so it doesn't look like it's just floating unnaturally. They give some starting settings. Distance 3px, spread 0, size 10px, opacity 20%. But you adjust to what looks right.
Okay, style number 2. Lifestyle photography. This is where the storytelling comes in, creating that emotional connection.
Exactly. White background shows what it is. Lifestyle shows what it feels like to own it, use it, helps customers imagine it in their life, connects on that emotional level, taps into aspirations. Big influence on buying decisions.
So what makes a good lifestyle shot? It's more than just placing the product somewhere random, right?
Absolutely. You need to know your target customer, their life, their style, what they aspire to, the setting, the props, the mood it all needs to feel authentic to them. Rule of thirds for composition helps. Human elements add scale and relatability. Backgrounds should complement, not distract. Consistent lighting mood matters. It's about crafting a visual story.
And authenticity is the key word there, isn't it? Can't really fake it.
Totally. The article warns against shots that look too staged or fake. They just don't connect. Genuine feeling, real context, that builds trust way more than some perfect but artificial setup.
And the third style, detail and feature photography. This feels vital for online, since people can't touch the product.
Exactly right. Detail shots let people zoom in, inspect the quality. Material, craftsmanship, special features, texture. It answers those unspoken questions about value, justifies the price, bridges that gap between seeing and touching.
Capturing tiny details might mean macro photography, though. Does that mean expensive lenses?
It can, but not necessarily. Dedicated macro lenses are best, sure, but you can also get good results with cheaper options, like extension tubes that go between your lens and camera, or screw-on close-up filters for your existing lens. Options exist.
And when you're shooting that close up, focus must be incredibly tricky.
Oh, yeah, super critical. The article suggests using a smaller aperture, like f11 or even higher, to get more depth of field, more sharpness. Sometimes focus stacking is needed for really intricate stuff, taking multiple shots focused at slightly different points and blending them. You'll probably need extra light too. And using manual focus with live view magnification on your camera helps get it perfectly sharp.
So what should those detail shots actually focus on to be most persuasive?
Think about what influences the purchase. Is it the quality of the leather, the neat stitching, a clever mechanism, the texture of the fabric? Show those things. Highlight what makes your product special, what justifies its quality and price. What would someone look closely at if they held it in their hands?
Okay, so we've taken all these amazing photos. Planning, shooting, done. But they're not quite ready for Shopify yet, are they? Post-production time.
Exactly. Even great shots usually need some tweaking for e-commerce, and having an efficient, consistent editing workflow is key. You can't spend hours on every single image.
What are the absolute must-do editing steps for pretty much every product photo?
The article lists the core ones. Color correction, make sure the colors are accurate. Exposure optimization, brightness, contrast just right. Straightening and cropping, consistent framing. Spot removal, get rid of dust, tiny flaws. And sharpening, make sure they look crisp online.
Doing that manually for hundreds of photos sounds painful and slow.
Totally inefficient. That's where batch processing is a lifesaver. Using presets in Lightroom or actions in Photoshop, you set up the adjustments once, then apply them to a whole batch of similar photos. Ensures consistency, saves massive amounts of time. Creating editing templates with your standard sizes and resolution helps too.
Are there more advanced editing techniques that can really push the quality up a notch for Shopify?
Yeah, a couple are worth knowing. Background removal is a big one for getting that clean, isolated look, especially for tricky shapes. Automated tools are getting better, but often you still need manual work, maybe with the pen tool in Photoshop, to get clean edges, especially around transparency or reflections. And then there's retouching, which is a balancing act, isn't it? Making it look good versus being accurate.
Yeah, seems easy to go too far and end up misrepresenting the product.
That's the danger. The article really stresses this. Retouching for e-commerce is about accuracy and building trust. Fix temporary things dust, a wrinkle that shouldn't be there. Even out colors slightly, but never remove permanent features or change colors so much that it's not what the customer receives. That just leads to returns and unhappy customers.
Okay, edited, retouched carefully. Now, are they ready for Shopify? Or are there technical specs to worry about?
Final checks. Yes, Shopify has guidelines for optimal performance. File format. Usually JPEG is best for photos, good quality, small size. PNG if you need transparency. WebP is great if your theme supports it. Dimensions. Aim for around 2048 pixels on the longest side, good for zoom, not too huge. Resolution. 72 ppi is all you need for web. Color space. Has to be sRGB for consistent color online. And file size. Keep them under 500 kbb if possible. Faster loading pages are crucial.
And maybe having different image sizes for different uses, like thumbnails versus the main product page image.
Good point, yeah. The article suggests exporting variants. Full res 2048px for the main image, so zoom works well. But for thumbnails on collection pages, something much smaller, like 800px wide, is probably fine and loads faster. And always test how they look on different devices. Desktop, tablet, phone. Check brightness, make sure details are visible everywhere.
Right, got the perfectly optimized images.
Yeah.
How do we actually use them effectively in the Shopify store to get those sales?
It starts on the product page itself. The order you show the images matters. Lead with your best hero shot, usually that clean front angle view. Then show other angles, lifestyle shots for context, close-up details, a scale shot maybe, and then any variations like colors or sizes. A logical flow.
And don't forget alt text.
Yeah.
Seems small, but it's important.
Crucial. Good for SEO, yes, but also for accessibility for people using screen readers. Write descriptive alt text for each image. Don't just stuff keywords. Say what the image shows. And use Shopify's features, enable zoom, use image galleries. If you have product videos, use a compelling thumbnail in your image sequence.
Consistency keeps coming up. How vital is that visual consistency across the entire store?
Absolutely vital. For looking professional, trustworthy. Build a brand image. Develop a style guide. How you compose shots, the lighting style, backgrounds, props, color accuracy, define it. Then apply it everywhere. Product pages, collection pages, homepage features. Creates a seamless, reliable experience for the shopper.
The article also mentions some advanced apps, like for 360-degree views or augmented reality, AR. Are those worth looking into?
They can be really powerful for certain products. 360-degree views let people spin the product around, see every angle. Great for complex items, fashion, things where shape is important. AR lets people use their phone to see how, say, a piece of furniture would look in their own room. Super helpful for bigger items, home decor.
Sounds cool, but probably a bigger investment of time and maybe money. When does it make sense to go down that road?
Good question. The article suggests thinking about it if your products are expensive, understanding the size or detail is critical for the purchase, you have high return rates because people misunderstood the product, or maybe your competitors aren't doing it yet. It's often smart to test it on a few key products first. See if it actually moves the needle before rolling it out everywhere.
Okay, even with amazing photos perfectly implemented, you're never really done, are you? The article talks a lot about testing and optimizing.
Never done. Continuous improvement is the name of the game. A/B testing your images is a great way to get real data. Test one thing at a time, main image style, angle, order of images, number of images, background. Run the test long enough to be meaningful, maybe a week or two, or get enough visitors. Watch out for seasons affecting results. There are Shopify apps for A/B testing or tools like Google Optimize. Even simple manual tracking can give you clues.
And besides formal A/B tests, just looking at your regular store analytics can tell you a lot about your images regularly.
Oh, yeah. Look at time on product pages, bounce rates, add to cart rates for different products, return rates by product. Use heat maps maybe. See where people click or hover on the images. This data helps you spot patterns, see what's working, what's not. Maybe for specific categories, you can make changes based on that data.
And finally, just listening to your customers seems like a pretty direct way to gauge image effectiveness.
The most direct way, probably. Use post-purchase surveys, ask about the photos, read your product reviews carefully for mentions of visuals, track customer service chats, do people ask questions the photos should have answered, monitor social media comments. Negative feedback especially tells you where you might be falling short. Maybe people didn't understand the scale or the color wasn't quite right. That's gold for improvement.
Okay, so as the store grows, more products. Keeping this level of quality photography going must become a challenge. How do you scale it effectively?
It definitely becomes an operational thing. The article stresses having efficient systems. Document everything. Your setup, camera settings, lighting diagrams, standard shot list per product type, your editing steps. Makes it repeatable, trainable, and batching helps. Shoot all similar products together. Edit them together. Streamlines the workflow.
And outsourcing becomes an option too, presumably. What kinds of options are there?
Yeah, several ways to go. Hire someone in-house. Work with local commercial photographers, use specialized product photo services. There are companies that just do e-commerce photos, or collaborate remotely with freelancers. Often it's a mix, or it evolves. Start DIY, maybe outsource key products, then move to a bigger solution as you scale. A hybrid model is common.
As you get more experienced, are there specific advanced gear or technique investments that really pay off, more than just buying a fancier camera?
Yeah, think targeted investments. Tethered shooting camera connected to computer lets you see images big, instantly. Huge for quality control. Automated turntables for 360-degree views. Focus stacking software for macro. Color calibration tools for perfect color accuracy. Special lighting modifiers for specific effects. Often, investing in things that make you more efficient gives a better ROI than just marginal gains in image quality from expensive gear.
And maybe specializing roles within the team, if you have one.
Absolutely. People have different strengths. Maybe someone's great at the technical white background stuff. Someone else is amazing at creative lifestyle concepts. Someone handles all the post-production efficiently. Another person manages getting it all onto Shopify correctly. Specialization usually means better quality and faster output.
Lastly, things change fast online. New tech, new trends. How do you future-proof your visual strategy?
Good question. The article mentions trends like video commerce, user-generated content getting bigger, shoppable video, AI stuff, Key is not just jumping on everything. Evaluate trends based on, is it relevant to my products and customers? How complex is it? Will it last? Does it give me an edge? How does it fit with what I already do? Best bet is usually get your core photography foundation really solid, excellent quality, consistent style, then be flexible to add relevant new things strategically. Build a good library of adaptable images. Organize your files well. Focus on foundational quality, but be ready to innovate where it makes sense.
Wow, this has been incredibly thorough. It's so clear that product photography for Shopify is, well, it's way more than just taking pictures.
It really is. High-quality, strategic photos aren't just nice-to-haves. They build trust, they engage people, and they directly drive conversions. It's fundamental.
Okay, so quick recap of key takeaways for everyone listening. Focus on clear, compelling visuals. Keep your style consistent. Understand your customer deeply. And always be testing and refining.
Exactly. And, as you think about boosting those conversions even further, remember Growth Suite. Great photos pull people in, right? Growth Suite helps you engage those interested people with smart, personalized discounts at just the right time. It understands visitor behavior, offers timely incentives. It works right alongside your great visuals to turn browsers into buyers. Check out its features, the behavioral tracking, targeted offers, how smoothly it integrates with Shopify. It can really give your sales a lift. You can find it on the Shopify App Store, learn more, start a free trial.
Perfect. And one last thing for you to ponder. What's the one change you could make to your photo workflow right now that might have the biggest impact on your sales? And maybe what's one visual trend in your niche you should start keeping an eye on?
This has been a deep dive into product photography for Shopify from Shop Strategy.